Let's start podcast.
Professional as fuck right here, bro.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, they actually didn't. See, that's
No,
the
they
bad
didn't.
part.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. This episode number 143. This week, I'm joined by my co-host, Scott, aka Scobie1.
What is up, everybody? We are going to be professionally unprofessional today. How is everyone doing?
That's a goal. We have to have one of these every few episodes. And on the other side, we got Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. What's going on, my friend?
Nothing much. Just the same old, same old. Just got a new game though.
Hell yeah. And let's dive right into it because you are playing Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which just recently dropped last week. And is it living up to the Zelda expectations or is it falling short?
Nah, it's there. It's honestly really impressive. I was kind of blown away just loading into the game, started playing, and I was like, well, this is just fun. It's casual, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is really good. Weirdly good. The game features your traditional sort of Legend of Zelda being a top-down sort of style game, but instead of top-down, it's angled. You can turn the camera top-down if you want to recreate that classic Legend of Zelda feel. But the game is in 3D where you have layers. So the whole idea is it almost feels like Breath of the Wild or the other newer Switch games where whatever you're doing, you're building stuff and you're going to new layers, and it feels like the game doesn't try to push you away from just like walking up over the walls, the mountains of the map into another map that you've already been in, and you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. So overall, it's been an enjoyable experience. How long have you been playing it so far?
I have been playing since I got it yesterday.
Yeah.
No, I think I got it Friday now, but I honestly it's really good so far. I have been impressed at how well it's performing, and it just doesn't feel like a bad game at all.
Yeah, that's dope. So it sounds like a game that Scott will probably end up picking up and playing relatively soon, I think.
Maybe.
You're muted if you're trying to talk to us.
Yeah, no, I keep that off if there's any noise from the dogs. Yeah, no, I definitely want to pick it up, and that's definitely something I can enjoy, like just kind of in my like downtime, or if I'm holding baby and can still play and something I can pause. That's something I was definitely looking at, and a lot of the reviews have been really great. And when it comes to video games, I value Roger's opinion greatly, on those, and so that's just kind of it's done. It's gonna get bought at some point.
That's good. Let's talk about a new game you have been playing. It's a new game just came out the other week. It's called PUBG. Oh wait, never mind. That was a few years ago. How's this playing for you? I enjoyed the clip you sent me though, pre-show, clipping people in cars on the move. He wasn't even trying to fight you at all.
It's actually called PUBG Battleground.
Yeah.
If you look at the icon, it's PUBG Player Unknown's Battleground.
Yeah.
Rip in peace in pieces.
Rip in peace.
But
no, it's always fun. It's always a good game to even just like I was doing it right before the podcast here, just because you can hop in, you can kind of either go and be like, I want to survive, I want to do my thing, or you can do what I did, where I was like, where is everyone dropping, and that is where I'm gonna go. Like, let's see what happens. Your mileage may vary. So it's super fun, and it's still like you were just saying that somebody was talking about trying to join back in your shoot to win, and it's just getting back into it. It's like, man, why did I ever leave? Like,
Right.
I just stopped playing it one day, and I was like, I was done. And then I hopped back in. I was like, man, I missed this game. And it's like every time, it's just Warzone. I mean, Warzone, yeah, but like you can play them both. Like I can play PUBG for a little bit and then hop out and go play Warzone. I think that was the initial hype. But man, getting back into it, like just nobody does it like PUBG. Nobody does it like PUBG. Just
PUBG was my first battle royale that I played. I actually bought a physical digital version of the game because you can buy a case, just doesn't have a game and it just has a digital code. And yeah, that was my first one. And then Fortnite stole all of my time from PUBG. And then when Warzone came out, that was it.
Yeah, it's just so fun. Like all they have left to do is they just keep polishing certain aspects of it, and that's it. It's when you hop into PUBG, you know what you're gonna get. You're expecting to get the PUBG experience, and that's just kind of what you get every single time. They don't change a lot of stuff. The stuff they do change is really just kind of quality of life. And they've been really good at it, and it's just a fun game. It's just a fun game to play, man.
Hell yeah. And let's talk about some fun games. I've been busy beating games this week. I got 3 here on my list. Finally got through Star Wars Outlaws. Um, game actually ended up really well. Especially once you got to that point of no return, like the streamlined missions. Like I feel like this game could have been like 10 times better if it wasn't trying to be like the first Star Wars open world game. Like that was like the tagline, trying to hype this game up. It's like open world Star Wars. It's gonna be the best. Like you don't need open world. You just don't. Like not at all. Like
No.
those like the last 3 missions of this game were like straight linear. This is how you're going to do it. This is the goal, and this is how we're going to do it. Straightforward. And it was
They
just
put you on rails.
it just fucking played great. And I loved it. Every second moment of it. Like the cutscenes in between were really good. It makes you actually feel more attached to some of the characters in the game. And there was a surprise appearance too in the game. Don't want to spoil for anybody. And it kind of like turned the tide of me actually thoroughly enjoying the game based off of this 2-3 hour ending of the game. And I was like, this game ended up being much better than it started off to be, especially struggling with the whole concept of like the if you get caught kind of thing, and just the gimmicks and the old school game mechanics that were there. I did only give it a 7 out of 10 because like there was a lot of issues with this game. If it wasn't for the ending, this game probably would have fell into like a 5 or a 6 range. But the ending was that good that at least how it brought it back to a 7 at least.
Damn. And you said this took place between episode 5 and 6, correct?
Yep. And
All right,
I
so
mean,
we know who wasn't the cameo.
right.
We know it wasn't Han.
Well, no, you get to see Han Solo when you go to Jabba's palace. Like you can see him in Frozen and Carbonite.
Well,
on-
yeah,
on
but
the
he
wall.
wasn't the cameo that you were talking about.
No, not at all.
He's not walking in going, "Hey, kid."
Yeah,
like-
no. No, but yeah, overall it was definitely an enjoyable experience, but I think the game would have been much better if it was not open world, because I didn't really want to explore the open world. Like didn't feel a need. Like the whole reputation system didn't make me want to explore the open world, or even let alone doing any of the side content, because it just had generally no purpose to it. Like your side content has to have meaning, otherwise I'm probably going to skip out on it. So here we are.
That's fair. That's fair. It's 100% fair. If they could have done a better game, keeping you on a rail, and keeping everything just like one track,
Like I
then
like
they should have done that. Especially if the open world doesn't give you anything, it doesn't add to the experience.
like even
That's-
Fallen Order and Survivor
exciting
does
part.
really well. Like I even tell those games is kind of like open world. Like it's more or less the same concept. You
would.
can go to different planets. You can go on those planets and explore the zones on those planets. Basically the same concept that goes on this game. So that's why I never kind of understood like how Outlaws is the first open world Star Wars game. Just couldn't grasp that idea. But yeah, I mean like
But they're acting like the Old Republic doesn't exist,
Right.
or like, come on now.
so it was
It's
just like
Ubisoft.
it
They're
was just
talking out their ass.
right. They're like it's an open world game. It's what we do best, and you still failed at it. But nonetheless, let's talk about another game that I also gave a 7 out of 10, and that is the Walking Dead Michonne Telltale series. It was a quick 3-4 hour experience just trying to get through it, and I just enjoy The Walking Dead. It kind of missed the mark for me because this is the Michonne from the comic books, and I don't really have that much of a tie-in to the comic books. Like I've read about a quarter of them, give or take, but like they veer the show veers so differently from the comic books that it's not even the same character at the point. Like Rick is different, Michonne is different. Like Daryl doesn't even exist in the comic books, so like, and he's one of the biggest characters in the show, period. And he has his own spin-off show. Carol isn't as big in the comics as she is in the show, so it's like really different. And I'm more invested into this TV show as I am the comics, so maybe it may have sat a little bit better if I was more of the comic book guy, but
Or if
Yeah.
they were comically accurate,
or that.
which they stopped doing about halfway through season 1.
And it's just like I think the show does it way better than the comic book in this sense. But it's just so crazy. Like Halo did the complete opposite. They're like, we're not going to follow the storyline, and it turned out to be a shitty show. The Walking Dead was like, yeah, we're going to turn and do our own thing, and it turned out to be a phenomenal show. I mean, has how many spin-offs now? I mean, it's been around since like '06, '07. Like it's been quite some time now.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It is a good show.
But yeah, The Walking Dead, Michonne, I mean, it was just a quick, enjoyable, chill experience. It's exactly what I expected from a Telltale game. Nothing more, nothing less. I just had it was a good game. It just didn't do anything spectacular or wowing or anything. Told a decent story. Like I feel like the story was kind of just irrelevant, to be honest. Like it didn't have any major role or anything. Like you're really just dealing with her getting over the loss of her daughters from a few years ago in the early parts of the outbreak. So it's just like, okay. And she's like hallucinating, which was very reminiscent to when Rick was hallucinating at the prison with Lori. So it was just like, you're telling a story that's already been told. All right. So, Roger, on your long list of games here, did you beat any of them, or are they still kind of ongoing playthroughs?
I have yet to beat a single game on my list, but then again, I'm dumping a bunch of hours. Like, Yakuza, the games
Yeah.
are known to be long, so
Yeah.
we're not going to get through that for a while. Frostpunk, the series is known to be a game series that you're supposed to play 2, 3, 4 times till you actually beat it, because they go, all right, good job, you made it this far. Here's the unpassable objective you didn't prepare for. Oh, cool, great.
Right. It looks like Frostpunk 2 can take you about 10 to 16 hours to beat if you wanted to beat it. Completion is just 25 hours. So
Yeah,
nothing too
and that's
crazy.
the same with Frostpunk, the original game. But
Yeah, the original took, if you wanted to complete it, it was about 60 hours to complete it. Main story was 10 hours. If you did main story plus some extras, it was 24. So yeah, definitely can invest in time, especially in that first one. But it seems like the second one took half the time, I guess, overall.
And if there's one thing that we all want to do here, like if you're gonna be beating it, you definitely want to be beating it to completion.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
if
definitely.
you're not beating it to completion, it's just a waste of time. You get chafed. It hurts.
Well, another game that I actually beat to completion is funny enough, my friend Peppa Pig. I downloaded and played this game with my daughter. Very terrible game from a game perspective, but a really enjoyable experience with my daughter until she fell asleep 3/4 of the way through. But I continued to play it just because I knew this game was only going to take about an hour, hour and a half to beat. So I just muscled through it, played it. It was very terrible. I got every single achievement along the way. So 1,000 gamer score added to the profile there, and another game added to the list of being beaten. But
The fact that Peppa Pig's worth 1,000 gamer score.
yeah, somehow like they make all of the achievements like 80, I think it was, or something like that, except for like the last one was like 200 for beating the game. I was like, this is absolutely insane.
Just to give you something for just plowing through it, just choking it down.
Yeah. I mean, mechanically, it was just terrible. Like all the way around, it was bad, and like the lack of like fast travel because like you have to travel across this big ass map, like not big ass map, but like you're really slow and you're like walking, and it's just if you had fast traveling points to get in certain areas, it would just make the game a lot better. And then like some of the like missions would like stop working because you left the area and you went to another area. If you came back, like you had to restart the mission over. It was just like, what are we doing?
And now, for the rest of the episode, we were talking about fast travel mechanics in Peppa Pig.
Yeah. But no, let's talk about a game that all three of us checked out the other day, and that is Deadlock. We continue playing that. Actually got to finally play against non-bots, against real people, and it's quite the different game. It is night and day different on playing the game, and that's for sure. But first game, I struggled a little bit, but with Roger's support and coaching, the second game I picked it up really well and started to do, I would say, pretty good. But I think the first game we lost, second game we won, if I'm not mistaken, when we did really well in that second one.
Yep.
But yeah, Roger, what was your overall thoughts on the experience of Deadlock so far?
I think the game's moving fast, and I think the game is raring up to be a success. Like, let's be honest here, they're already releasing a new character. We're still only in alpha. Like, the game has a huge player base that's sticking around. They're actively making changes to the game, for good or bad. Like, at the middle of the day, they just released a patch that my game doesn't realize is patchable. So for an hour, I'm sitting here waiting for the patch to apply till I can play.
Oh, geez. Yeah, there's 79,888 people playing right now. In the last 24 hours, there was 125,872 at its peak. So yeah, still having a large player count.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott, what was your experience like before you had to step away?
Oh, I love it. It's just fun. Like Roger said, it's moving fast. Like in alpha, already releasing new characters. Um, it feels like they're taking to account what a lot of their players say. So that's always nice. That's always nice to see. Hopefully they stay on that path. But if this stays at the current trajectory, this will probably be one of the biggest games that we see for the foreseeable future.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm actually curious to see if it can be in the running for any game of the year, or not game of the year, but game awards. Give granted that it's an alpha, I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, apparently they're grouping Elden Ring, the the Shadow of Erdtree in for game of the year, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense because it's not a game, it's a DLC. So I don't know how you include that in game of the year, but that shit
Well, I mean, it's the
frustrates me.
size of the
It
game,
has a
and
lot of content though, so
No, I
that's
know
the
size
that,
of the
biggest
game.
issue is
but
the amount of hours of content.
right. No, I
Yeah,
definitely agree.
Yeah,
It's like bigger than a lot of regular games in general.
yeah.
But it's like if that's the case, like just call it Elden Ring 2 or whatever. Like just call it its own separate. Don't call it a DLC.
They don't need to. It's called Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. I mean, we're also still in an area where remakes are put up for Game of the Year,
Yeah, that drives me insane.
like remasters, like stuff like that. So like an entire DLC um, that is bigger than a lot of other games. That's not so far fetched to be in the talks for it. I mean, especially when you consider really we live in a digital world. All games are DLC. Every game we play is a downloadable content. I
facts.
mean, if we're really
I
gonna
hate,
if we're
I
really gonna
hate,
get down to
I hate to say it, but facts. It's a factual statement.
Additional
you
content
you hate
to a game
you
already
hate that I said
established.
it, but you hate more that I'm actually right
Right.
about
We have to
that.
change the term of DLC, I guess.
Yeah.
But one last thing, game I wanted to cover on Roger's list here was Aura History Untold, game they recently released within the last month or so. Big game for the Xbox ecosystem. Game Pass day one. How's this been playing for you? You enjoying this one?
It is interesting. It's not bad. So I want to right out the gate, it's not a bad game. The problem with the game right now is it's trying to do more than Civilization while trying to compete with Civilization. And it's like, well, now you have to micromanage each little building you build on the ground, give it different items. Oh, now you're not just having your cities build, but you also have like, you know, consumable items that you're making at each one of the little buildings across your city. So like you're micromanaging all these tiny little bits, and it's easy to miss stuff right off the bat. And you're like, well, you go 4 or 5 turns in, you're like, shit, this building has been without a consumable to give it a boost for 5 turns. I've literally wasted my entire time. And then
Mm.
like you just miss so many small details that there has to just be a better way for managing your overall, like every city should have better management than it does, because there's just so many bits and bobs you have to keep clicking into things, and there's no button to just like next building, next building, next building, click in, click out, click in,
Oh yeah,
it's too micromanagey for
yeah.
very little payoff.
Right. Yeah, it sounds
Like
like they
it
need
takes you
some
out of
to
the gameplay.
introduce some quality of life improvements is what that's going to need.
Hmm.
You needed a property management team DLC. Just
All right, guys. Any other games you wanted to cover before we move on?
No, nothing new really.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was any specific game releases coming out here that are big. Because there was only like three that I was kind of like on my radar, and that had to have been the SpongeBob SquarePants the Star Patrick game, our Patrick Star game. That one seemed pretty cool. One that was pretty interesting, maybe for like you, Roger, maybe you Scott too, is a Warhammer 40K, the card game. The Warp Forge it should be releasing on the third, so I know that one was usually pretty big for you guys. And then Until Dawn is getting its PS5 remaster, coming out on the fourth. So those are probably the three games that are I wanted to pretty much highlight that are coming out this week. Any excitement around those three?
nothing terrible. The Warhammer 40K sounds cool if it's something that I can just kind of pick up and just mindlessly play along while I'm doing other things.
Right. It's
Yeah.
available on PC and mobile. So it's a game you can treat as your new proper pooper. Yeah.
We're bringing it back.
All right,
It's
gents.
back, baby.
Yes, sir. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to the industry news. All right, Roger, if you want to go ahead and kick us off here with the first topic.
Sure, let's talk about Stellar Blade versus Stellar Blade. A Louisiana company is suing PlayStation and their studio Shift Up over the name of one of their new games called Stellar Blade. So all they did was use the same name but added a space. So it comes into question, like, where do we draw the line at what is copyrightable? Like, at some point, does the entire English language become copyrighted so that, like, you just can't put any two words together without getting sued? Like,
More or less. Just claim inspiration, remember?
yeah, just claim inspiration. Easy.
This reminds me of when Vanilla Ice came out with his song, and he was asked in an interview what the difference between his beat and the beat from Under Pressure with Queen and David Bowie was. And he sat there and he goes, no, it's totally different. See, because theirs is like dan 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 dan, but mine's like dan 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 dan, because they're completely different. And they bought it.
Completely different.
That's kind of what we're getting. It's like, no, it's not Stellar Blade. Stellar
It's
Blade.
Stellar
It's
Blade.
Stellar Blade. That's Stellar Blade. This is Stellar Blade.
You got to take that
Totally
pause in
different.
between words.
Absolutely completely different. Yep. You just take that extra second. Totally different. Can't touch us.
Yeah, it looks like they're claiming its business is being damaged by Shift Up's use of the name. I don't know how, like, I don't know what kind of damages like they're really searching for, because I also think like maybe it brought more attention to them, because like maybe a lot of people were searching Stellar Blade on Google and it brought up their company from Louisiana, and they're like, that's like free advertisement. So like you could argue this probably either way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to go, like, because you're right. Where do you get to the point to where everything is copyrightable or nothing is copyrightable
I'm
anymore?
saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Ethically, either nothing's copyrightable or everything is. And we'll
I
get on
mean,
that later.
But I'm sure like all of this would kind of eventually probably fall into the line of like how a lot of copyrights are only copyrightable for like 100 years. Give like Disney lost the rights to like Winnie the Pooh recently, and Mickey Mouse
Well,
specifically.
And the thing is, like, Winnie the Pooh isn't even theirs. It's their version of Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey Mouse is really just Steamboat Willie.
Yeah. Well, my bad. They lost rights to Steamboat Willie because it expires after 100 years, and it's been over 100 years now. So it's like, but that's why we see these like crazy horror spin-offs of like all of these shows and
Yep.
in movies, because like anybody can use the that copyright or that image or whatever, and without getting in trouble. So I think that's kind of what we're going to get into. Like maybe like they can set up rules and regulations of like, hey, you can't use Stellar Blade because it's already used by this company. You're going to have to change it up. But like, it's tough, man. Like you named a company Stellar Blade, but then a game is called Stellar Blade. Like I don't know. It's two different things. Like I can understand if you set up another company, a competing company, and you named it Stellar Blade and you put a space between it. Then that to me that's like patent infringement, like trademarks. I don't know.
Yeah, like if I sold knives and I was called Stellar Blade, and then somebody else was like a tool sharpening company called Stellar Blade, I'd be like, all right, that's a little
You're
too
getting
on
close.
the nose. But I mean, it's far enough apart to where you would still think that there's gonna be that separation. Like this isn't even in the same realm of what these people are doing. So
This is a different ballpark altogether.
totally different ballpark.
Oh man. So I'm sure we'll continue to follow this lawsuit like we are with the many other ones that we're following behind. All right, let's talk about another, maybe not a lawsuit, but an investigation that was launched. Ubisoft board of directors has launched a investigation into the company's struggles. It announced that the committee, so they're investigating and reviewing the company because like how bad everything has been going, and this also kind of led to Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed, which I know we're going to cover later on. Um, but they're also saying like Star Wars Outlaws underperformed, X Defiant is not living up to expectations, stuff like that. So it's like they're trying to figure out what is going on with Ubisoft and how can we make sure that we don't lose money because they started off hot, like they were doing good with Prince of Persia. Like I said, Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Assassin's Creed Mirage was doing really well. So it's like, what the fuck is going on with Ubisoft, other than Ubisoft being Ubisoft? And Scott looks like he has a lot to say, so I'd love to hear what's going on. What's your thoughts?
I don't have a lot to say, but man, this just reminds me of the meme where it's like the two astronauts and they're out in space and the one astronaut has a gun to the other astronaut's head in front of him, but that astronaut's looking at Earth.
Always has been.
And it's like, wait, we're the problem? And it's like, always have been. And I'm just waiting. Like, we're investigating ourselves to find out what's going on here at Ubisoft. And they're gonna be like, they're gonna come back and be like, every single one of us was the problem. Every single one of us, every
We
single
figured
person.
it out, guys. It was pretty difficult, but we got there.
All the way down to the dude that like swept the hallways, the people that delivered the coffee. Like everybody here is involved with how bad we have been doing.
What's your thoughts, Roger?
Honestly, we've been talking about it for a while now, and it's just the games they're producing. They're just not there. It's just that's the problem lately. They make the same slop and then they expect us to go, "Oh my god, it's the newest thing." It's not. It's the same garbage. It's just they've been producing the same crap over and over again, and then they do one or two things that the community asks and they're like, "Well, it didn't do as well as we thought." Well, you didn't give us time. Like you
or the support that you
rushed
gave
it.
all these other ones.
Yeah,
so
you rushed it, this and that.
They would make those changes, give it 3 days, be like, see, unsuccessful, and then just rip it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Weird.
prime example was a game that I beat 2020, it might have been, maybe 2021, was Immortals Phoenix Rising. Brand new IP, kind of like a new concept for them.
Would have been great.
It was a phenomenal game. I thought. I mean, it's a 93% on Google, Steam, and IGN both gave it a 7 out of 10. So like, middle road kind of good game. They're like, we're not going to make number 2. It didn't do that
Yep.
good. But you're like, but it did fucking phenomenal. I mean, it's the same thing what Xbox did with Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was winning game, like it was in a lot of game awards, right? Winning everything, best indie game or whatever, new small game.
The studio, they didn't do good enough.
They didn't do good enough. Like what like your expectations are probably way too out of reach. Like I'm seeing that at my job now, where they're like, you should do $55,000 this week, sir. We haven't touched $55,000 in about 5 or 6 years. So when do you think we're going to hit that? And then like the retail math, they want each person to do $200 per hour while working there. If I do that times the 177 hours that we're given that week, we're only going to do $36,000 giving your scale. So I'm going to be $20,000 short. I'm set up to fail. And it seems
especially considering you work on an entirely, well, all three of us are in a reactionary position. Like our job is really driven by what comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, they expect you to do $200 an hour when nobody's coming through your fucking door. Good fucking luck.
right.
Gotta pay for that. Gotta pay for that AC somehow, though.
That's broken. But that I feel like that kind of circles back though to the games industry, is like they're setting these really high expectations because like let's just take the original Assassin's Creed, right? Did fucking phenomenal. It broke records for Ubisoft, but now every Assassin's Creed after that has to do the same level or better, or it's never going to meet the mark. But like Roger said, you sell the same shit over
too.
the same thing. If you sell the same thing over and over, you're never going to reach the same thing because people were burnt out on that concept. It's time to try something different.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like it's the same tired thing over and over again. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like our open world hasn't worked for 3 generations now, but this one will do better. Trust me. This is it.
Clearly,
this is the one.
Clearly
This
the
is the one.
players.
And
Clearly
they,
the
they,
players
they
the
finally
problem.
made a game that wasn't open world. It was Metroidvania. It was that Prince of Persia game that I said it overstayed its welcome. But it's probably
Mhm.
going to be in talks for Game of the Year this year. That's how good of a game it was. But that game didn't do open world. It did everything opposite of what Ubisoft has been giving us. So hence, it has done well. But guess what? It also didn't hit financial standards. Like it was supposed to sell like X amount of units, and it didn't even sell like 1 million or something like that. It's like you produce a really good game, but you also didn't put the marketing behind it at
Mhm.
all. Like if it got the same marketing Star Wars Outlaws got, it probably would have did way better than what it is.
Well, they treat their input as though that's the only way
It's the
that
only metric that
get
mattered.
they're gonna get anything. They treat the input, how much they put into a game, time, money, whatever. They treat that as the only actual like measurable basis
Mhm.
on how much money they're gonna make.
Yeah, we see that with
you said,
Sony.
Immortals, like you said, Immortals Phoenix Rising. People bought that game. People love that game. They said, "Nah, fuck that."
Right.
And then you have games that they're just pouring more money into and going, "Well, based off of all the money we put into this, this is gonna make us this much
This
money."
should have sold.
And then it doesn't. And they're like, "Well,
I mean,
these fucking players,
I
nobody
guess
can make them
I guess we
happy."
can't forget about one of the worst games of the ever period in Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones, they put out another very terrible game
Never
this year.
heard of
So
that
like,
game.
but it's like, but
I
you're,
will
you're
only
100% right.
give respect. I will only give respect to them saying they absolutely had to make that game and put it out, because even if they made $50 at that point, it was better than what they were gonna be doing.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely agree with you, Scott. It's just like they're basing like how much you're supposed to make from this game on how much they put into the game, and Sony's starting to run into that issue a lot. They're like, "Hey, we just
Mhm.
Spider-Man. It cost $300 million. Well, guess what? You need to make us $500 million. Probably not going to happen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's
they're treating the entire industry as though it's just a return on investment. If I put X amount of dollars in, I will get X amount of dollars back. I will get, for every dollar I put in, I will get $2. I will get
and
$3.
it and
I will
and they're
get $4.
treating these games
And they
like
just think that that's how it works.
yeah, and they're treating them like they're treating them pretty much like what would you say? A commodity. They're like bread. People are always going to buy fucking bread. Well, this isn't bread, okay? This is a video game. Like people are going to this is art and people are going to look at it and critique it like fucking art. And if you don't want to do art correctly, guess what? People aren't going to buy your fucking shit. Like
It's not going to be in the Louvre in fucking 500 years.
yeah, it's like let's be honest here. The macaroni art on somebody's fucking fridge isn't like, the same thing as an actual good piece of art.
He didn't mean that, KK.
I didn't make fun of your art piece. Okay, go ahead. Go get mommy. She got
But that's what they do. And then now they're investigating what's going on. Well,
Mhm.
everyone can tell you you're going it's the equivalent of critic score versus audience score for like,
Mhm.
IMDb. Like
Yep.
if I go to IMDb, I don't give a shit about the critic score. What the fuck do they know about what kind of movie I want to watch?
Right.
Like,
Let's look
and
at
that's
the
what they're looking
audience.
at. Like, yeah, look at the audience. What's the audience score? The audience score is
What are the people
98%.
paying to go see a movie?
And I'll give you a prime
movie.
example, no pun intended on this one, but the new Transformer movie, Transformers 1, it did terribly critically. Like everyone's giving it like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10. But the audience is like, oh, it's a fucking phenomenal movie. I think it has a 93 tomato score or whatever. And I'm like,
It's-
prime example.
It's because critics, yeah, nice on the prime example.
It's
It's critics don't understand that sometimes we just want to watch large robots fight other large robots.
and like at the end of the day, it's just people don't realize that we're paying money for this. We want this. And so like when you're not giving us what we want, we're not gonna pay money for it. Like what
Hence
is there?
supply and demand.
Yeah,
If
it's
the demand's not there,
they're like expecting demand to just be intrinsically always there, and then they're like, "Well, I just shit in this bread basket. Here you go," and you're like, I never asked for this."
And then they're like, "These fuckers never want anything from me. We have to investigate why they didn't want to eat my shit."
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this can help shake up Ubisoft and make more better creative decisions from that publisher or developer, because like Ubisoft
Out.
can make great games, but most of the time as of lately have not. But nonetheless,
The opposite of great game.
let's go ahead and move on now to exactly, Concord, RIP. Let's go ahead and move on now to the last industry topic.
Yeah, so Virtuos is actually looking to get acquired. The Singapore-based company, which has been involved in major franchises like Call of Duty, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Metal Gear Solid, is actually in active talks with multiple studios in Japan. The chief executive officer, Giles Longarel, I butchered that. I already know I did because I don't speak French very well. The company had said the company has narrowed its focus on targets with 100 staff or fewer, and with a track record of reliability. So interesting stuff out of there. They've provided art and gameplay supporting content to some of like the largest publishers we've had. It helps them speed up development and helps them just kind of keep either on pace or get ahead of schedule for a lot. It has a team of about 3,800. And it's been involved with about 1,500 games so far for like art for weapons, maps, landscapes, and other. And it's helped retitle a few, remaster a few classics. But interesting stuff out of there. They're just kind of who wants to buy us, uh, which could be a nice gamble. It's worth right around 200 million right now, and they have the potential to triple in the next 4 to 5 years. So I mean, could be a nice purchase for somebody, but who? That still remains a mystery.
Yeah, and I just threw up here on screen like a lot of the games that they had their hands in helping. Outer Worlds, Medal of Honor, Outriders, Final Fantasy, Dark Souls Remaster, Jedi Fallen Order, Warzone, even.
Yep,
Unfortunately, Marvel's Avengers, the dumpster fire that was.
but it
Grounded.
looked great.
Yeah, it looked great.
We're trying to sell them. We're trying to sell them.
Horizon Zero Dawn, Bioshock the Collection, PUBG. They even helped with PUBG. And even that VR game, Vader Immortals, a Star Wars VR series, which looks really fucking good. I watched some gameplay behind that. That game looks absolutely terrifying. Just think Alien Isolation, but like you're trying to evade Darth Vader. Yeah, that sounds a bit scary. But yeah, nonetheless,
Spooky daddy.
hopefully they can get bought out by some good studio. Hopefully not Ubisoft.
My man just slides that in there, like hopefully not Ubisoft. Okay, moving on.
They're gonna get bought, and then all are gonna immediately fire. Be like, we've actually investigated ourselves. We found out that this company we bought, Virtuos, has been
It's the problem.
96% of the problem. We got them last week, but we're 90% sure that it was them.
They did it, not us.
All right, gents, let's go ahead and move on to the biggest part of our podcast. Because we got two major events that we got to cover. So let's go and check that out. All right, guys, kicking it off here with Xbox, of course, and man, they were busy because they were at the the Tokyo Game Show, and they had their own little event, and so I'm kind of run through like all of the games. I'm just going to list them off, but then I'm gonna highlight some of them that I was most eager to see. These are in no particular order, not how they appeared at the show or anything, but we did get to see a trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Then we got to see the crossover between My Hero Academia with Overwatch 2, which I know a lot of people are excited for. Age of Mythology Retold got its first DLC announcement for it called Immortal Pillars. Then we got StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 coming to Xbox Game Pass. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle got another trailer. Tanuki Pond Summer is coming to Xbox. Threads of Time got a trailer. We Love Katamari, Reroll Plus. Hero Shooter Fragpunk got its closed beta announced for October. Metaphor ReFantazio got a trailer. Atelier Yumiya got a deep dive. Asura Jang Rumble, probably butchered that pretty bad, but got another new trailer. Bleach Rebirth of Souls gets a new trailer. Synduality Echoes of Ada got a trailer. Fallout 76 has got a new update, which we'll talk about here in a second. Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster gets a gameplay comparison trailer, and All You Need Is Help became available today. Slitterhead got another deep dive, another horror game that's coming out. The Starbites Taste of Desert got a new trailer. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake got a deep dive. And a couple of the Mana games are coming. So you got Trials of Mana and Legend of Mana are available on the Xbox platform. And last but not least, we did finish out with Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered, which is also available on the console. So that was a lot. Definitely a lot of games here that Xbox showcased on their little showcase that they had for about an hour and a half, I think it was. Pretty cool one that I know that Roger, you and Marshmallow were talking about was the Overwatch 2 and My Hero Academia crossover because like Overwatch 2 has been having these really awesome like crossovers and like skins, but like the game just isn't like appealing to play anymore. Like it's not an enjoyable experience. So like, what's your thoughts on this crossover? Does it look cool? Is it really intriguing to you? Is it enough to get you back on Overwatch 2, or is Deadlock got you locked up on that?
No, no way I'm ever going back to Overwatch. Like it's a flop of a game.
Yeah, unfortunately. Um, I thought what was pretty cool that's coming to Game Pass is StarCraft and StarCraft 2. Was announced
Mhm.
for Xbox Game Pass. I've never played either of them games. There's a rumor that there's a StarCraft shooter in development, so maybe I can check out one of these games to get me into the franchise and then get me excited for maybe an FPS that we get from the franchise. Because if I'm not mistaken, like StarCraft almost kind of gives me like the Warhammer 40K Space Marine vibes in a way.
Man out here calling the literal Warhammer 40K real-time strategy game gives him the vibes. Yeah. So
Is there
if you don't
tie-ins
know
to
the
it? Yeah, I don't know.
history, StarCraft actually was originally developed to be a Warhammer 40K game, and then Games Workshop pulled the license.
Ah, so it was more or less like
Yup.
Space Marines.
Yep.
Okay.
So Terrans were actually humans slash space marines. You know, the Eldar is the Protoss, the Zerg is the Tyranids. It was actually meant to be.
Never in my
Warhammer
life
40K
have I
game.
seen somebody so close on like just a well, it feels kind of like yes.
it is.
There's
I
a
mean,
reason
it was.
there is a very specific reason it feels that way, and that's because it was.
Yeah, they pulled the license right before go, and they were like, "Well, what the fuck do we do?" They're sitting there holding the bag, like, "Well, we just put all these hours into development," and they were like, "Guess we'll just call them knockoffs," and
And here we are.
it went well.
Yeah.
Fuck it, StarCraft. We're good.
Well,
Easy.
I guess that makes more sense then. Honestly, I mean, every day we learn something new, and I'm glad I was able
Good
to learn
eye
that.
though.
Yeah,
Good eye though.
But
I
it
will
just
say
was
for
funny.
you.
I was like,
Not
"Yeah,
a-
man,
I
you
guess it's
called
not a
it."
perfect time then, like riding the hype right now of Space Marines 2, which is doing extremely well. Why not fucking put StarCraft 1 and 2 on Game
Mhm.
Pass? Because it shares so many similarities, of course. And then the rumor coming out that they're making a StarCraft shooter that could rival Space Marines. I mean,
I-
it could hit at
I'd
the
be
right
down to
time.
see it.
It could hit.
I'd be down to fucking see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd give it a good old 20 minutes of my time.
I mean,
See
it'll
how
come
it
to Game
feels.
Pass day one because it's an Xbox
I'll
title.
give it a good 35 minutes of my time. See how it feels. You know.
Well, I'm glad we went down that rabbit hole. But let's circle back to the Tokyo Game Show here. Definitely a lot of Japanese titles that were announced. For sure, a lot of them came to Game Pass like already. Like 5 games were right into Game Pass today. I know big ones that are a lot of people were excited for were the Trials of Mana and Legend of Mana. Like these games are from the 90s, and what's good about these though is that these are like built from the ground up, like next gen versions of the game. They run at 4K 60 FPS as opposed to like if you play this on PlayStation, it's going to be running at less than that, like 1440p or even 1080p, because it runs the PS4 version of it and not a native PS5 version. So those issues there. But nonetheless, they came to Game Pass. But I know what's also exciting though is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. So this consists of the first 6 games of the series just in the pixel format. This one did not come to Game Pass, unfortunately, but you can buy the collection and give it a go. This looked really cool. Were you guys eager to check out this at all?
It looks fun.
I don't know if I
It's
want to go back.
Yeah.
It's definitely I wouldn't even say a step or a leap, but definitely a bound back. Um, it's one of those things. If the itch happens,
Yeah.
other than that, it really won't be on my radar. I'd probably forget about it until I was like, oh,
Yeah.
That happened.
It's just
Yeah.
I feel like that's the feeling with me with a lot of remakes and remasters. Like if I already played them the first time, I'm probably 9 out of 10 won't play the remake. I don't know if that's how
Um,
you guys feel, but that's how I feel lately. Like the reason why I played Dead
Alright.
Space remake was I never played the original Dead Space the whole way through, so perfect time to hop in, play it, and beat it. Same thing with Mass Effect. I never played Mass Effect trilogy on the original, so hence I played the remastered version.
and that makes perfect sense. If you haven't played it, the remastered is definitely the time to play it. You know, the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The second best time is now. So if you've never played it, now's your chance, and you get a better experience than what a lot of people got when they come out of here. The only time a remake or a remaster really just fucking like pulls at me is if I like absolutely loved the game. The last one that the last one that I was super eager to play was Resident Evil 4, just because that game on the GameCube, I played the absolute bullshit out of that game, and I was very, very excited for the remaster. Other than that, they don't excite me too much. They probably should excite me more than they do, but unfortunately, they just don't. So like I get it. If you've never played a game, you play the remaster, because they fixed a lot of things that were wrong with the original game, so you won't have those aches and pains like a lot of other people did.
Okay, I lied. There's only one that I will ever go back to over and over again, and that's the Master Chief Collection.
Well, that's a given.
That's
Halo's
a whole
Eternal.
different game. Okay.
That's a given. Halo's Eternal. Halo's Eternal. We know that. That's okay.
Halo's
That is
Eternal.
okay. Yeah, Halo's. That's a revolving, like, always go back to that. Halo is an eternal game that you don't need an excuse to either play or visit a remaster, or like if at the end of this show we're like, hey, I'm gonna start a Halo 1 campaign. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Every single person will be like, all right, dude.
Yo,
Have
can
a
I
good
join?
Like, have fun.
No, it's
Let
really
me know-
been on
let
my
me know if you
mind
wanna co-op
lately
that.
to play Halo 3 ODST campaign again. I don't know why, but it's been heavy on me. I was like,
That was good.
and I saw the announcement. It was like it came out like 17 years ago the other day, and I'm like, it's been 17 years. Like I remember taking off school that day to play that game and beat it in the first day, and I was like, man, 17 years, time just goes by in a fucking blink. But yeah, circling back to Tokyo Game Show real quick. Yeah, nothing else really exciting me. Actually, I lied to you. Fragpunk. The trailer looks awesome. It's another hero shooter, but this one has like the cards implemented, and this one just looks really good. And like they announced the closed beta that's coming out in October, and it's for console and PC. You just got to sign up for it, and I did. So I'm just kind of waiting to see when we can pre-download, which I think is October 8th, if I'm not mistaken, and then the beta starts on the 10th. So once that happens, if you guys don't check it out, I'll be able to report back and let you guys know if this is the next big thing to play, or if it's one of those
This
that
is the game.
skip it. Yeah. So
Is it?
I'm glad that like we can play these hero shooters at the beta stage and not have to invest any money into it, Concord, and then find out if it's even worth it, because it just helps out in the long run. Like I still don't understand, how does Concord launch without having a beta to see if anybody even wants to play this game, and not a closed one, not where you invite people and tell them, hey, you can't say nothing bad about our game. Like, you know what I mean? But here nor there, because we're going to be diving into PlayStation here
But
soon.
it's because they put X amount of dollars into it, so they're gonna get X amount of dollars back.
Yeah, $400 million.
And that's what everyone expects now.
Which-
I put money in, money shits at me.
It's just mind blowing that you put
And that's
$400 million into Concord, and that's more than any game that you've ever made.
Yeah.
Shout out to them though for actively removing the game from everybody's consoles. At least saving people the trouble from going through and uninstalling it themselves.
Yeah, shout out to them. I didn't want to own the game. Oh wait, I don't own digital games. Just have a
Nobody
license.
owns digital games.
All right, guys. So moving on to some updates in regards to Xbox games. They did have like their Minecraft Live was yesterday, I think it was, and like one of the first big updates that are coming out is called the Spooky update. First of many, but some of the like quick highlights here that were announced is that hardcore mode is in the Bedrock edition now. There's gonna be new bundles were originally supposed to be part of Minecraft Caves and Cliffs update, but were delayed. And they should be coming out here soon. The Pale Garden is a new biome coming to Minecraft Overworld. It says it's creepily calm. It's desaturated and almost entirely silent during the day. At night, new creepy ambient sounds debut, and players may encounter the native hostile mob. So that one should be pretty interesting. And there's like new pale oak trees, new just overall blocks from this. The creaking, which is a new hostile mob, only exists in the Pale Garden at night and perfectly blends into the pale oak tree. So that's going to be fucking terrifying. Going to go up.
Yeah, that's not gonna be creepy at
I'm
all.
going to be trying to punch a tree and it goes poof, or whatever it does, and scares the shit out of me.
Tree, motherfucker.
Well,
Ah.
Vic, make sure you keep the lights on, or
Yeah.
only play this.
I can only
from 1
play.
to
I can only play
1 p.m.
Minecraft during the day now. But yeah, yeah, big time update. That's all they really like described. If you want to watch the event and learn more, go right ahead and check it out on YouTube. But moving on to the hardware side of Xbox, this is where like I was super fucking pumped because obviously we seen the announcement of like that translucent like blue Xbox controller, bringing back the old original Xbox like Duke vibe. Like I have that controller sitting right here next to me. But they're taking it the whole next step further by introducing the transparency into the design labs and like what you can do to it is really fucking ridiculous, especially with like the chromatic D-pad and the paddles on the back for the Elite Series 2. But they did go ahead and announce a new regular controller called the Ghost Cipher, which looks fucking sexy. If you ask me, it's the white see-through with like the goldish accents to it. It's really clean looking, and I was like, man, I don't know if I
Oh
want to
man,
get
even
this one or the blue
triggers.
one. Like, yeah, like it's so nice. And like, but I really was like, man, do I make an Elite Series 2? But I was like, no, like I've been holding off on getting an Elite controller because like it's missing the share button. It does not have a share button like the Series X controller has. So I was like, I'm just going to wait till the Series 3 controller comes out. But when is it going to come out? Is it coming out soon? Next gen?
Never.
What?
That's
Yeah.
a fun fact.
Yeah. Fun fact, never coming out.
Never.
But yeah, definitely looks pretty badass though. Shout out
Yeah,
to
that
them.
the green one has so much going on, but I love it.
Right. Well, that's just what
Initially,
someone put together. Because you can
in it,
make it
okay,
whatever.
you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I wanna
Design
do that.
Labs. Yeah. Just go to Design Labs on the Xbox website, and you can like change all the colors. You can change the color of the buttons, the D pad, the joysticks, the start and back button, the bumpers and the triggers and the grips. Like you can change and do whatever you want to your controller on Design Labs.
I feel like those are important things. I feel like we lead off with that. Um, the blue looks really good. They all look really good. And if you can do whatever you want, they just look great. The green one looked amazing, but that Ghost Cipher,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, that looks damn good.
Yeah, maybe I have a new controller here soon. But nonetheless, that is the hardware update. Some quick updates for software. Game Pass app is being folded into the Xbox app on mobile. So if you had iPhone, Android, there was a separate app for both Game Pass and then the regular Xbox app, and now it's going to be folded in one. Thank goodness. Don't know why that was even a thing. Maybe it was a stipulation from one of the app stores where they had to be separate, but maybe with the laxation and the implementation of the court saying, hey, you can't do this, and this, it allows them to fold it under one app. Then for the PC though, the Game Bar has a new compact mode and it is now available. So we'll have to check that out and see if it's any better because Game Bar to me is pretty terrible. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it is super duper fucking clunky. But
Meh.
meh. What about you, Roger?
Meh.
I know you kind of hate it sometimes, like when you're definitely playing games on Game Pass.
Yeah, honestly, Game Pass on PC can feel clunkier than a lot of things, honestly. It feels so bad some days to play with the game bar. I just never look at it. And like if you have a controller, my favorite part is where you're in the game bar and you hit left or right and it's like you're like, I hit it once. I hit
Yeah.
the D-pad and it just goes okay,
Yeah.
cool. Guess I didn't want to click that button in the middle anyway.
All right. So that is all the Xbox news I got for you guys this week. Roger, what's going on in the PlayStation realm?
So we got the state of play. So we got a big one here. So we'll start off with Horizon Zero Dawn remaster announced. We'll be getting that on October 31st of this year. And that will include 10 hours of re-recorded dialogue as well as enhanced visuals. Monster Hunter Wilds got a release date, and that is on February 28th, 2025. Astrobot had its DLC, which is awesome. This game just came out, and they're already just came out, already announcing a DLC after they did really well. We got a new game called The Midnight Walk. It's from the creators of Lost in the Random. It is a PS VR2 game.
Or PS5.
Next up, for the PS5. Then you have Hell Is Us. It's we got a new gameplay trailer for that. Power World is now officially out on the PS5, and then we have Metro Awakening arrives on VR on November 7th. We have then Arc Age Chronicles is releasing in 2025. We've got Lunar Remastered Collection. We have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge Radical Reptiles DLC is free and out now. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 is getting a remaster. We also have in addition to that, we have Hitman 3 VR Reloaded is arriving in December. Then there's Fantasia Neo Dimension is arriving on December 5th. And then we have Sonic X Hedgehog Shadow Generations DLC, where Keanu Reeves is actually headlining in the game as one of the voice actors. Lego Horizon Adventures arrives on November 14th. Then we have a new early access for Towers of Agazba has been announced, and that is going to be in November 2024. We then have Fear the Spotlight gets a new trailer. Alan Wake 2 Lake House expansion revealed. We have new PS5 controllers announced, and then we had Dynasty Warriors Origins coming in January 2025, and the headline, the announcement of the new Ghost of Tsushima game, Ghost of Tsushima 2, The Ghost of Yotai.
Mm-hmm.
What a state of play, guys.
Yeah, this is honestly one of their better ones, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a meme. It's like, oh my god, PlayStation, we're back. Oh my god, PlayStation, we're back. Oh my god, PlayStation, we're back.
Right.
What is it?
But even then, like, people were like, oh, fucking PlayStation, like, during the state of play, but by the end of it, they were like, we're back, baby, because of fucking the new Ghost game. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, shout out to Powered finally coming to PS5. That's going to boost it. Obviously, quick update to that. It's releasing in like 65 countries, and one of them is not Japan, because that's where the lawsuit is going down for Power World versus Nintendo. But yeah, Astrobot DLC, to see that so soon announced is pretty awesome, but it doesn't come out until fall of 2025, so like another year. But the biggest head scratcher, we were just talking about like remasters and like why is Horizon Zero Dawn remaster getting like a thing? Like, why is this a thing? The game came out on the PS4. Mind you, this is the reason why I bought a PS4, was to play this game when it first came out. The game was really good, one of my favorite all-time games. But it's still not enough to play a remaster. Like, this game just came out not that long ago. Like, I don't think games that from last gen should get a remaster. Just my opinion. I think you're just wasting money. And the fact that what they did is, I agree. They were like, if you already own the game, it's a $10 increase, right? $10 for the upgrade. But I'm like, Xbox, you just get those updates for free. Like, you don't pay any money for the upgrades. They're just automatically enhanced in the game. And then, like, what some slimy shit went on PSN, the game was $19.99. When they announced this game, the PS4 version went from $19.99 to $39.99. So then it would be on the same price as the remaster if you upgraded it from that base version. And I was like, that is some slimy shit. And like a lot of companies have been taking this and running with it, because especially GameStop, they're like, I wonder who you can buy a game from and have the physical version and still only pay $10, because you can buy the Horizon Zero Dawn for like $10-15 from GameStop and then go spend $10 for the upgrade, and then you're golden. So it's like, why is PlayStation being like this fucking money hungry? But
because they're running out of it is the problem. Like, you know, they make bad decisions, so they're instead of trying to do the right thing, they're nickel and diming every chance they get, and that's the problem. They're nickel and diming when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's without a doubt. Sorry, I'm just pouring up another beer real quick. This one is much darker than my first one.
My man said, oops, sorry, give me a second here.
My beer ran out quick.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm drinking, I got the Seamus Stout from Evergreen. Hopefully it's good.
Siemens Stout. You heard it
here. Yeah. If there's one thing that it's refreshing on a Sunday, it's Siemens.
Big shout out though to the DLC that we got to see though, and that was the Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC. This kind of like watching the trailer ties in like the control, because you actually get to see the Federal Bureau of Control building from the fucking game, and then like that it's getting tied into the Alan Wake 2, and I'm like, oh, like this is getting good. Like I haven't beaten Alan Wake 2. I haven't played it in a few months, honestly, but I do got to get back to that, beat that game, and then check out the DLC because DLC. I hardly play DLC, but I think I played and beat every Remedy's games DLC because it's just that fucking good. But yeah, I do want to bring up on screen real quick though before we move on the controllers, and the plates that you can buy for the PS5 because I want to give it just as much of a shout out as we just did for Xbox because not gonna lie, they look cool.
Mhm.
You know, they're the Chroma collection. Like when they were on the screen, I was like, ooh, I like that purple, and I was like, ooh, I really like that green. Could care less about the white. Didn't really look that appealing, but like the purple, like indigo, and then like even like that green, solid.
Mhm.
Was really fucking dope. But I wonder if there's the. I guess they're probably only available. Like the plates are probably only available for the PS5 Slim and not the original PS5, is what I'm guessing. I don't know. Not sure how it works, but do any of those three stand out to you guys? Have you excited? Not really.
They all look good, but I ain't gonna spend money on them. It's not worth the money.
Right. All right. What
That's
else do
fair.
we have here? But yeah, Roger. I guess the other, obviously, the biggest excitement has to be Ghost of Yotai. Um, I've never played Ghost of Tsushima. I really want to play it so fucking bad. And
It's
now,
good.
like
It was good.
seeing this trailer, I was like, oh man, what am I missing? Like, I really just want to buy a PS5 now. Like, my goal is to buy a PS5 within the next 6 months, just so I can play Ghost of Tsushima before Ghost of Yotai comes out. Because, like,
It was good.
man,
It was
yeah.
so very good.
But it's already dealing with a lot of backlash already because they're like, "Oh, why is it it's a female character?" I'm like,
Oh,
"Who gives a fuck?
no!
Who gives a
not
fuck?"
a female character in my good
And then
Christian
they're like,
Ghost
"Why
of
didn't they just
Tsushima
use the other
remake?
character?" And I'm like,
Ugh.
"This game takes place like 300 years apart from the first game.
How can you have the same character?
Make it make sense to me, bro."
It's like the opposite of like poorly de-aging a character. Like, no, we want this character.
Like
to be
they
300
made the
years later.
character come full circle, and they're like, you know what would be better though, if we don't do that.
Put him back in the shit.
It makes sense.
All that trauma that was healed. Undo it.
Reload that
Undo it.
trauma. Let's go.
Re-traumatize him. Let's go. Round,
Baby.
baby.
But yeah, before we move on to Nintendo, just real quick, Roger, on a scale of out of 10, what do you rate this State of Play event for them? Was this a better one for them?
Honestly, I think this was it for me. Like just seeing another Ghost of Tsushima game, the Astrobot to help keep the hype going. I hope the DLC next year is good. The fact that like Metro Awakening looks really good. Like I'm genuinely thinking about getting it just so that I can play on the Steam version. Like I'm really in for the Steam version, man. That's what I
Mhm.
want.
Yeah,
I'm feeling it, dude.
Because it is a VR game, so
Mm-hmm.
so hopefully it's good though. I mean, we don't get a lot of VR, but I was excited to see that PlayStation had a decent amount of support for the VR here
Now
at
we're
the State of Play.
seeing the VR games.
Yeah. So out of 10, what are you going to rate this show?
It's probably still a 7 in my opinion.
Mhm.
Like Towers of Agazba looks
Mhm.
good, but you know, it's not truly just on the PS5, right? Like
No.
so it's on PC as well. We've got,
Right.
the only truly thing that to me was of value is the Ghost of Tsushima. And that's what we should be seeing from PlayStation. They're like, why does nobody buy our console?
Yeah, I mean, I really asked you the question, like, why was this not at the PS5 Pro announcement? Why?
Mhm.
Don't get it. But
Why?
before I move on to Scott, this is like Xbox. It was so funny after the PlayStation event. Xbox put out this image. It was like, and also coming to Xbox. Although like most of their games that PlayStation was showcasing, which I know probably a lot of those games I was covering for the Tokyo Game Show were probably also coming to PlayStation. But I just love how petty Xbox was being with like immediately shows over PlayStation. Xbox was like, this is all also coming to Xbox. Like they don't want to lose.
Yeah,
out
we're gonna
on
have
it.
that too, guys. They're not special. Just letting you know that.
Yeah. But yeah, Scott,
Yeah.
what do you how would you rate this this event from PlayStation?
With Ghost of Yote, I'd say a good like 7, 8. Without, I'd say about a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, I can
That's
agree
fair.
with that.
Yeah, I feel like that had so much weight to the show
It's
that
it was the heavy hitter. It was the
It
one that
carried it.
everybody was talking about. It carried the entire show after it was announced.
there were
And
probably three big things from the show that I took away from it, and that was the Ghost of Yotai, the Alan Wake 2 DLC, also the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reavers 1 and 2 remaster. Again, these are games that I might have played a few times back in the day on the PS1, PS2 days, but now it's a remaster. Now it's time to actually maybe play and actually beat these games. And then outside of that, what has to be the Astrobot DLC, because a reason why I also want to be at a PS5 is because of how good Astrobot looks. Like I literally, when I bought my Nintendo Switch, I bought my Nintendo Switch to play Mario Odyssey, and this has huge Mario Odyssey like inspirations. So it's like I got to play that. And then Astrobot is announcing DLC. Why not? But yeah, I would probably give it a 7. 7, like it got carried big time.
Mhm.
Big time carried. Like it's a heavyweight, kind of like Star Wars. Like the ending of Star Wars, it kept it at a 7. Otherwise, it would have been that 5 range for sure. But nonetheless, shout out to PlayStation for actually hosting a good event. Moving on though, Scott, what had happened in the Nintendo world?
Hey, so as we all know, Echoes of Wisdom dropped just about 3 days ago, and it has been a massive success so far. There's been just review after review saying this is an amazing game. We had Roger earlier saying how great this game is, uh, and what you can do with it, whether it be the top down, but we still have the 3D modeling. It looks great. Can't wait to play this. But did everyone here know that this originally started off as a dungeon creation game?
Yeah, I was
That's
pretty
your
blown away by the fun fact that I discovered.
Your fun Zelda fact for this Sunday is that Echoes of Wisdom did originally start off as a dungeon creation game. I do believe Vic might have something up there, but if not,
Mm-mm.
uh,
I just have the article
yeah,
that I was going to pull for I can read from too.
yeah. So coming out of there, in an Ask the Developer interview published on Nintendo's website, it was also confirmed for the first time that the Switch game was developed by longtime partner studio Grezzo. Releasing on Friday, the latest game from the studio behind the Switch remake of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is the first brand new entry in the Nintendo series. It's also the first game to have a female director, which is great, with Tomomi Sano, serving as the director for the title on the Nintendo side. Um, but yeah, lots of interesting stuff when they're talking about this was actually going to be a dungeon creator, dungeon exploration game. And to be able to go from that to what they have now and still have the big, like, have it be this massive success.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So Roger,
Good
do you
stuff.
see hints of this in your gameplay so far?
As soon as you said it, I was like,
It
oh my
makes
god, yeah, it
sense.
feels like that. Because that's what it is. You run around and you're literally just placing objects on the game as you go, but then also like times you just don't fight yourself. You literally kill something, you're like, summoned it, and then that thing fights for you. You only have to kill it once and you can summon it. So then you're just running around summoning all the shit that you didn't want to fight, now fights for you.
You fight for me. But
You
what
fight
else?
for me
What's going on? What else is in the Nintendo realm?
Other than that, just some random some news. So we have the September updates for any pre-orders. I will actually link that here in the chat. This is going to be for any updates for pre-orders that you might be looking for, such as Sword Art Online, Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Collection Anniversary, Transformers Galactic Trials. There's an entire list there. If you're interested in the pre-orders, go ahead and look there. And they're also going to be retiring a lot of Nintendo sets in the UK. Nintendo sets such as the NES, the Atari, the Rambo Rhino expansion set, Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam expansion set. I'll also link that here, and that is coming out of the UK, where they will be retiring in those. So get your hands on those now if you can, because they might be worth a pretty penny in the near future.
Yeah, it's so crazy that Lego would retire sets, but yeah, I'm sure there's always
You
ways
gotta
to
keep
get
them
their hands on
classic.
them.
Gotta keep them classic. Gotta keep them worth something.
You also have to keep things current.
I guess
You
like
know,
the,
you
like
can't just keep producing the same kits over and over again.
I mean, it's a different topic, but like you see what happened to the PS5 Pro 30th anniversary edition. Like people bought it and are already reselling it for like $3,000 to $10,000 on eBay. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely
Dude, I
insane.
play Magic the Gathering. I know what scalping is. You don't have to tell me.
Yep. I was waiting. I was like, there it is. Yep.
Like,
One-
Absolutely insane.
I will gladly give you a paycheck for one anime cat girl today.
like
Just
all I
one.
can say is just like it feels like the first time image, like that meme. That's what it feels like. Oh my god, they're scalping this console. Oh, first time.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Like they did for every console that released since like 2020.
Yeah, speaking of that and how bad scalping is, if anybody is interested, I am for $1,000. You might get a chance for me to possibly pre-order a PS5 Pro for you.
Yeah.
Um,
The shout outs.
If
Go be
anybody-
one on IGN or Instagram. Or Discord. All right. So moving on here though to the next topic here. Fortnite entered in with some interesting stuff. I'm gonna throw up a trailer and kind of talk over it. But they partnered up with Topgolf. Interesting enough. This is like out of nowhere, but it kind of continues that trend of what Xbox was doing, like partnering up with the WNBA, and also the NBA players as well. But like they created like an in-game Topgolf map that you can play golf with your friends on, and do these different courses and whatnot. And it has very like reminiscent of like mini golf, or like if you think about the days of playing mini golf on miniclip.com days, like a lot of fun. And this looks like a pretty badass. So I actually still have Fortnite downloaded on my Xbox. I might just hop in just to check out fucking Topgolf, because why not, right?
I would shit if Topgolf was the one that like brought the most players back into
Of
Fortnite.
all time, even more than the
Or
OG.
it just this is like everybody just loved Topgolf. Everybody's just a huge fan.
So out of left field, but here it is. And I mean, Fortnite is ever evolving, and I mean, it just continues on. And it actually just really goes to show like the power of the Unreal Engine, the Fortnite map editor, that people were really able to just basically make whatever the fuck they want to do. All right, Roger, let's go ahead and move on to another head scratcher of the week.
Fantastic. The day before devs are now back. Their new studio, Fantastic 2.0, is looking to kickstart their next big game.
I really hope nobody fucking supports this shit. I'm sorry. For those who don't remember, they are the developers behind the day before that launched in January and closed down like a day after.
Yeah.
They launched January 3rd and they were promptly closed January 4th at noon.
Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Made Concord look like a good game.
At
I can
least
say as
people
far
got
as,
to play
as far as
Concord.
shelf
Ah.
life, as far as shelf life, Concord beats this out of the water.
Yeah, I was just like, man, what the, like, why? Like, this game was like looking really good, like, but it was super misleading. Like, none of what you saw in the trailers is what you got. And then it didn't matter. You didn't get to play it that long. So, and people invested thousands, if not millions of dollars into the original studio, the original part of the studio. And now they're looking for more money, more investment from people. Like, I don't think you're going to win that many people over there, buddy. Just don't.
Not at all.
You cry
Not
wolf
gonna
one
happen.
time, the second time, I won't believe you. But yeah, sad to see there. All right, Scott. We kind of talked about this in a pre-show, I think last week or at the end of the show last week, but we wanted to throw it in here because why not? This has been an episode about controllers and just unique looking things.
Yeah, why not? You can customize controllers. What else can you customize? You can customize your keyboards, and now 8-Bit Do is selling NES style cap keys for your keyboards. They actually look really sick.
They do.
Keep that. They do. They look really good. They keep that like off-white, gray, black undertone with the red lettering. They just look super fun. And some of the things that they've like put there for like whether it be like a number or like function keys, things like that. They just look super fun and interesting. I mean, honestly, it's great to see. If you're a huge Nintendo fan, but now you're on a PC, this is also going to be a good buy for you if you're feeling for it. I think it was going for like $49.99 when we had looked last.
Yep. You get
and I mean,
165 keys.
Yeah, you get all of them, all of the keys. But they look great. They look fun. This is gonna be a cool little kind of customization you can do on your keyboard and just kind of get out of the mundane that we get on everyday keyboards. So it looks good. It looks real fun.
Yeah. All right. what's next here on the list? Oh yeah, we're circling back. Kind of already mentioned it earlier, but Ubisoft has decided to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows until February 14th of 2025, and of course they put out the infamous sorry, dear players
Sorry,
letter.
not sorry.
Yeah, letter here on Twitter saying that the Dream Project is for us and finally bringing the series feudal Japan, blah blah blah. Basically like just bullshit and giving you that typical corporate talk, and it's like some of the stuff you're like it says we developed it with our community in mind, such as parkour or our renewed stealth. And I'm like, this isn't new. You didn't develop it for us. Like, you're just developing it because that's what's part of the game. So you're already lying
What's
to us
needed?
there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the world's gonna look immersive and beautiful. We already know that. But
Like if it didn't, why would we buy it?
right. And then like another kicker here is that like they're refunding all pre-orders right now, and then like you can pre-order the game later if you want, or keep it pre-order. But like, they're scrapping the concept of their season pass scale or system that they have in place, and they're going to be bundling in the first DLC pack for free with the pre-orders. But they're rethinking like how they deliver the content to the players as opposed to the season pass that has not been working over the past forever. But they said, rest assured that we are looking forward to the moment you embark on the memorable adventure with Nayo and Yasuke. But interesting enough, like they really delayed it to 2025, and they're really about to go head to head with Ghost of Yotai, which is set like generally, I think timeline wise, it's really close, and it's like this could end up really bad for Ubisoft. Like I don't know why they did this. It makes to me a really bad business decision. But what's your thoughts on this, Roger?
Facts, agreed. Like the it I didn't have any expectations for this game to do anything but bomb because like it's just it's Ubisoft, dude. Like Assassin's Creed like is just running off a name alone lately for me. It just doesn't feel good. It hasn't felt good for a while. Like it's just lost its sort of finesse here.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely fair. Like it's definitely not like I said. You're never going to get that same Assassin's Creed feeling that you once had when the
Yeah.
first three games came out. Like you're just never going to get it. It's the same way. Prime example.
Agreed.
When I drink beer, I'm never going to get the same feeling I got when I first drank beer.
Oh,
Never will.
100%.
And I see that now. Like even when I drink certain beers, like when I drink Miller Lite, I don't taste anything, and I'm starting to get that feeling with Blue Moon. You get the same
Yeah.
thing. You're going to get used to it,
And
and you're just going to be like, oh, okay, cool.
and they're not it's not getting better is the problem. Like it just feels the same to me every time. And it's like it feels like it's getting worse almost in some cases.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be fair. Like, really enjoyed
Mhm.
Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla was good, Mirage was good. So it's like Assassin's Creed it's different. Like they definitely changed up how the game plays. But I'm just curious to see. Like, this is what everyone has been asking for from Assassin's Creed for a
Mhm.
very long time. Like this would have been an easy sell back then as it is now. Like this is going to, like you said, it's going to sell off the shelf just for the concept alone that it's in Japan.
Mhm.
The story that everybody wanted.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully the delay works. Like, hopefully it leads to a better game in the end, grand scheme of things. But depends also what they find during that investigation. Honestly,
Yeah, it's fair. You can if you continually delay a game and it comes out being good, no harm, no foul.
Or
If you
could
delay it
skulls
and
and bones the
yeah,
industry.
or it could skulls and bones this. Um,
It could
hopefully,
bone me is what you're saying.
hopefully it's the former, and
Bone
Roger
skull.
isn't getting. Hopefully, Roger isn't getting boned unless he pays for it and asks for it. Which,
Lightly bone me,
which
please.
which Ubisoft does to us very very often. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, Roger. What's going on in the Among Us world, which we don't really cover that often?
Yeah, Among Us weirdly enough has gotten a new set of controllers.
Yeah, I'm good. Then brought up here. Limited edition, available now, and they got one for pretty much every platform that you want to play on.
Mhm.
This one is for the Switch, which looks pretty cool. Then you have the Joy Cons, which yeah, they're all right. I'm not the biggest fan of these ones. And then you have the PS5 controller, which isn't too bad. And the Xbox controller I think is second best to the first one that we looked at with the Switch. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on the limited edition Among Us controllers?
I
Switch
think they're
controller
okay
is
at
goated.
best.
Switch controller is goated out of all them.
The Switch one, yeah, definitely. I mean, it looks like it makes sense, like all the way through. I don't know.
If I played this game more, I would care more, but I don't, so I don't.
Right. All right, Scott, we're going to round this episode off with a fantastic topic. Tell us about it.
Yes, so basically Nintendo pre-ordered a lawsuit here with Maribo Go.
Got him.
I was worried how to segue into this, but that the Nintendo lawsuit is coming, just like winter. But Maribo Go or Maribo Go is a Palworld-like game. It gets an October 10th release date for PC and mobile. We've already got over 400,000 pre-registrations. But here's some of the interesting things. So it's not based or inspired by Palworld. However, they did say that they were kind of inspired by Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah.
No way,
So who would have thought? But this is it's an open world survival crafting game with monster taming elements. While it seems
Also has
reminiscent
guns.
of Palworld, like we had seen, it has actually been in development for quite a few years, and it's more directly inspired by Pokemon and survival games like Ark, similar to Palworld. Very much
In a lot
so.
of ways.
In almost all of the ways. Almost all of the ways. This is very, very similar. But the developer Dreamcube Studio did give the game a limited beta test in mid-August. It actually had some pretty decent players and reviews. Now they've committed to a firm release, so it's going to be the October 10th, like we had spoken, and it did note that there's over 400,000 people that have already pre-registered to their interest to play the upcoming game. So, oh, that's not Incineroar, is it? Oh man,
I was like, this
we'll
couldn't
see.
come at a better time. Like Nintendo's already suing.
They've already
Palworld for this game.
they just slapped Palworld for this about 2.5-3 weeks ago. And then now this drops. And the funniest part is it's Maribo. Sure, it's Maribo Go. So like how
Pokemon
how
Go,
on
Marabo
how
Go.
on the nose do you have to be?
They just
Like, at
claimed
this point,
inspiration.
It's
you know?
it's a lot of inspiration. It is a very, very large amount of inspiration.
Like this
it's-
might be really close to copy and pasting homework from Palworld and just calling it something different and claiming inspiration from Pokemon. Doing everything what Palworld probably should have did.
My man's over here said, I got all your answers. What'd you put for name? And then oh no, we're gonna put Maribo Go. That should do it. That should keep it. That should be.
Roger, I know you got some thoughts on this. How do you think this is going to play out? Is this going to do well? Is it going to go to court too?
I honestly think this company was like, well, now that Palworld over here is getting their fucking sock suit off of them, let's just wait, see how the lawsuit goes. We'll go forward, and if they win, we win. If they lose, we lose. So hey, let's just fucking play the cards, man.
Honestly,
high
you know,
reward.
Fucking land.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward. But man, what a better time to release? Because like, if Palworld wins, can't get touched. I mean, they can try, but
But they can just like hey, we want to claim the same lawsuit that Palworld went through and just use the same answers.
or even better, you'd be like, no, we were inspired by Palworld.
Your inspiration was insurmountable.
You have inspired me.
Oh,
I've got
jeez.
inspiration. I get to re-roll on a failed check.
All right, guys, that is everything that we got for you this week on the gaming news. Any last thoughts, guys, before we close out the episode?
Nah,
Yeah.
thanks for joining us, guys.
As always,
R.I.P. to Maribo Go.
It's not even here yet. It's going to die just as fast as Concord. But we do want to thank everyone who did join us live here on Twitch and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
You can find me on Discord or here on the podcast.
And what about you, Scott?
You can catch me on Discord or here on the podcast, or if you want to get a glimpse into my personal life, you can hit me up on Instagram at Scubby1.
Like your recent Ren Fair visit, which
Like
looked
my
awesome.
recent Ren Fair visit, it was baby's first Ren Fair visit. We gotta get her started early.
Hell yeah. And of course, everyone, you can check me out at Mr. Never Chillin' _ Threads is Mr. Never Chillin'. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin' for the game. Party up. Even if you want to play my friend Peppa Pig. But also, I catch me on Facebook at Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or if you want to come on the show. And I do stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin', where I'm currently playing Creatures of Ava. And soon to be starting, hopefully, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 when I do pick that up here in about a week. So, but we do want to thank everyone again. And until next week, peace.
Restart Podcast.